I'm hoping that I'm hoping that your sitting is improving. Your sitting improves in accordance with your sincerity to practice and your interest to really try hard to to maintain the method. This is uh, what's important is to be able to understand that causes and conditions never fail, that you you get out what you put in. And this is very important because it's something that if we don't decide that we want to elevate our practice remains very mediocre. You don't want to do that. I mean, you are sincere practitioners. A lot of you have been following me for many, many years. And and it just takes um, your decision that you want to practice sincerely, and you can do it. The answer is with you. You have to um, perfect the method, perfect the principle, and put it into practice, and it will go. It's not just simply like sowing a field and throwing seeds down and covering them with soil. You have to water them, take care of them, to weed them in the proper way for the for you to have a successful crop. But causes and conditions are such that it will happen if you practice sincerely. This is probably the most important thing is that it's you that has to do this, and not let yourself down. It's very interesting when we talk about this because we talk about um, self or self nature of mind. And this can be very confusing to us because it's almost as if this uh, idea of an atman, not self, flies in contradiction to what seemingly that what we want to do, which is that to transcend or to become enlightened. But these words, they fall very short of what the goal is, and we use these words kind of as a carrot on a stick to get people to become more willing to accept the Buddha Dharma, um, and kind of like they what the ancients would say, it was kind of like a pacifier to stop the baby from crying. But in right view practice, we have to accept this bitter um, elixir that just like Chinese medicine, if you've ever had Chinese medicine, which I'm sure a lot of you have, it's not good tasting, right? It's like, here, take it, and you'd go, no, no, no. And when you were a child, you would not want to take it, and then when you became parents, then you're going, take it, it's good. And they're going, no, it tastes horrible, but it is what makes you well. It's very easy, very um that for someone to kind of phone in um a a meditation practice, and tell you just sit there, don't think of anything, cross your legs, um, and not get to it. Um, that's very, very simple, but to try to inspire people and to show them different facets of Buddha Dharma is something that is really the challenge, to use these expedient means to find the right words that when they ring in your ear, they ring truly. And this is what we have to do. So I always tell people that I don't come anywhere just to ring a bell. no, what good is that? I mean, whatever has been taught, if it doesn't make you improve, then is ineffective. And so when are you going to really sit and practice sincerely? I give you all of what I can give you, but I need you to do your part, which is to not let yourself down. And here, the self that we're talking about is the self nature of mind, your Buddha mind. But it's hard because we confuse that with our corporal body. And we think that this corporal body is us. We think that this corporal body is what is to become illuminated. But when we see this, we see clearly that this is just an illusion, a dream. It does not have any substantiality. That which is to be realized, we already have. It is the realization that just this mind is the mind that we were looking for all along. We don't have to find it. We use it every single day. We just don't use it in the right way. When we understand this, this is right view training. And then that enables us to contemplate. Contemplation is different than the contemplation of a sentient being who sits and ponders and thinks and tries to do things. This contemplation is a direct contemplation. There is no thought there, nothing to pick up or put down or to seek. It is just this direct contemplation. If we can accord our mind in this way, it becomes clear in its own way because of its self-nature will appear. It will be no longer clouded by all of the things that came around before. When I was a child, I used to play with mercury. Mercury's like a liquid metal, and my uncle was so kind to provide me with a bottle of mercury. It's a good thing I didn't drink it, but it's bad enough that I was touching it. But it taught me a lot, and it taught me that if I moved it along the floor, I had a wooden floor, so moved it along the floor, it would pick up lint and dust, and the shininess of the mercury would appear to be lost because of all of these travels along the floor of my room. And I would look at it and go, it's not as shiny as it was. And so I would see that, but then I'd understand that it's still shiny. I just have to find the way to have it regain its luster. And this is kind of the way that mind was. Is the mind has this original luster to it, original brilliance to it, but because of causes and conditions, all these things that get stuck on it seem to give it the appearance of a dullness. And in this dullness, it's not so bright anymore. It's not so clear. And because of this dullness, then it produces suffering. We don't know that's not really the essence of the mercury or mind. It's hard to us to make this transcendence. The transcendence is not the transcendence of that, this mercury is originally clear, and I'm looking for the clear mercury or the clear mind. The transcendence is a little different than that, a little more subtle. And that's that the mercury and the dust are one. And that the original luster of the mind is that which reflects what's originally there. And everything that is appearing on it, although it may look like it's a dust, when we look at it in the wrong way, we see that it's impure. But if we look at it as it is, we know that the mind has never lost its original luster. And all of this dust and everything is precisely mind as well. And it too has the luster of mind. It belongs there in accordance with causes and conditions. This is what we don't understand. And as a result of that, there's this dust that moves along the mercury, believing that it's separate and apart from that. And it is just dust. But it too belongs to the mercury. We see it as transitory, that it is just something that is picked up along the way. But it's difficult for us to make that jump, to incorporate all of that into mind. When we can incorporate it into mind, then everything is seen in its proper place. So the transcendence is not going from a deluded individual to an enlightened individual. You're still a piece of lint. Sorry, but you're a piece of lint. But you're a good piece of lint because you belong to mind. And running through all that and knowing that your parent is mine. It gave birth to you, created you in accordance with Pratika Samapada. This is not easy for us to do, and it's not easy for anyone to lecture upon. And who lectures like this? Who dares to do this? But it's important, because when you see things in the right way, you realize there's no enlightenment, there's no transcendence per se. There is just simply this awakening as to the self-nature of mind. This is something that we don't really understand. Don't really get to that point of truly understanding that. But it is an awakening, not an enlightening. Enlightenment would mean that you as an individual, or the way we think, you as an individual have become enlightened. And then everybody can come around you and look at you and go, wow, he says he's enlightened, but he doesn't look like he's enlightened. And then you go, of course I'm enlightened. No, it doesn't work that way. There is an awakening in mind, because the one that is dreaming and caught in the dream is just simply the Buddha mind, or a portion of it, just like some piece of mercury would have separated from the big body of the mercury, other mercury, and believes it to be separate from that mercury. If you move them together, that little piece will join with the other. And before thinking it's just this one little individual piece, when it joins with the other, there's an awakening that this is a pretty big body. It's like you've been living in a tent all your life, and all of a sudden they give you the cosmos and upon cosmos to move around in. That's a pretty big space. That's the awakening of mind. It is infinite. We cannot know that with our sentient self. And that's the problem that we have a difficulty, and we have to be able to overcome all of that pulls us back into this this life, this apparent life that we have, full of our suffering, full of all the problems that they have. But we should be able to. We just have to have faith in the mind, faith in the presentation, that there is a way out, but the way out is what they call the gateless gate. They call it the gateless gate precisely because, in fact, there is no gate to pass through. It is just simply an awakening that all that you see around you, wherever you're at, is created by the mind. You say, no, some contractor came in and put up the walls and did this and did that. Well, even the contractor was created by the mind. It's difficult for us to understand that because we're in this dream, moving around in it, and we believe, oh, well, this is a cell phone that's hard. I cannot pass my finger through it. You as a sentient being cannot. But mine could. We don't know that. We don't understand that. We don't understand conceptualization. We believe conceptualization is reality. And because of this, we're destined to remain in reality. We're kind of doomed to be in this reality because we can't find the way out. But the way out is simply to awaken from the dream. It's very interesting because the last time I was in Michigan, I had a very deep realization there. And it was simply that I had been given a lecture and I went to my room to try to prepare for the next lecture, but I was also working simultaneously on the Ratnagotra Vibhaga Sutra, also known as the Uttara Tantra Sutra. And as I was looking at it, I wanted to understand what the words meant for the name of the sutra. And that's probably the best thing to do is start by understanding what do the words mean of the name. And as I was looking at it, and I saw Ratna, and Ratna means like the highest or absolute. And then Gotra has many, many meanings in Sanskrit. But one of the meanings that it has means clan, such as like Shakyamuni clan. But when it said the absolute clan, for some reason that hit me, and it hit me really, really hard. And it sent me on a very interesting mind trip. And for several months, I was coming in and out of it. But what sent me was the idea or the understanding of the name, the Ratna Gotra, as it is the absolute clan, or we could say the Buddha clan. And that this sutra had this kind of an esoteric meaning to it, meaning that this is written for the awakening of the Buddha clan. And it is in just this way. And in its way, it had answered many, many of the questions that I had. I had so many. and they were obstructing me from being able to move along with it, not in a bad way. It was something that I was sincerely looking for. Now, I'm not telling you this story to say how great I was or what happened. I'm telling you this is because this is the path. This is the gateless gate that we have to sincerely look at things and contemplate them, not with the mind, but look right into mind. What do you see when you look into mind? It's very interesting. Mind, as it looks at things, because it has no obstructions in it, sees everything clearly. Everything appears like Indra's net, like a facet of a diamond, perfectly reflecting everything else, clearly reflecting everything else. We cannot know that with a sentient mind or sentient conceptualization. It's not possible. But this mind, this incredible absolute mind, you have it right now. Right this very moment, you have it. You only need to use it in the proper way. Little by little, all of what appears to be all of this dust upon the reflection of the mercury or reflection of mind will simply be converted to mind. This is the transcendence, that we don't move away from the dream. We understand the dream. We understand that the dream is mind and that we are there and now responsible to understand each and every one of you are caught up in this dream. And our job is not to escape, not to go to nirvana. How could you rest in nirvana? Really, like you're going, wow, this is really, really good. But then I guess people just forget about the others that are suffering. How could that be enlightenment? What kind of enlightenment is that? I don't want any part of that kind of an enlightenment. I would feel so nervous, like in nirvana, sitting on a beach, zipping on a pina colada, and the palm trees swaying. It feels so good. And then I say, but they're all suffering. What am I doing here? This doesn't make any sense. They are part of my clan. I want to deliver them, to get them out of this dream. No matter how good the dream seems in 1 minute, you all know that in the next moment, it can turn around on you. Somebody dies, somebody leaves. You lose a job, lose a house, lose a loved one. It is not a place that we should dwell on or continue the dream. I'm expressing this from the other side so that you can begin to understand where to go to, why you're listening to me. It's not by accident you're listening to me. I don't have an interest in delivering you. I have an interest in the ones that you're going to talk to that you will deliver. You already have heard this. Now you have to put it into motion because you are part of the clan. You're just in a dream and you refuse to wake up. It's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you open your eyes for a moment and then you go back to sleep. But you can do this. You can awaken. I'm here pecking on the outside of your shell, and you should be pecking on the inside. You want to awaken. In awakening, we do not escape from samsara. We incorporate samsara into mind so that we see it clearly as it is, not as what we perceive it to be within the limited conceptual scope of samsara. Now, I know I'm presenting things in a very profound way, maybe confusing to you. Forgive me for that, but try to stay with me. This is a Chan meditation class, but in order to do this, you have to know what you're doing and you have to know why. And this is part of the awakening, so that when you approach that cushion, you approach it with a chance. If you simply approach it and say, I want to become enlightened, that you will never get it. Not only that, but you're not going to help others. This is what's important. So when we approach it with the right view, we understand what we're doing on that cushion. We are not trying to convert yourself to an enlightened person. Everything there is mine. What we're doing is we are eliminating all of the dust by incorporating it into mind. This is what they call self-absorption. Think about this. The appearances in mind, they're not at fault. They are created by the mind. And if you constructed something, you created it, but you were mind. Even if you were in a dream, the only way anything could be created is by mind. But you believe you were the one that were hammering the nail in and putting the board up and making a room or whatever, some computer program, or knitting something or painting something, then you believe you do that. But all of this we know is impermanent. All phenomena is in this way. And we go, yes, everything is impermanent. But then Gilbert says, even you are impermanent. Man has not created something that would make you permanent. In fact, you would probably be an abomination against the nature of things to have something that's phenomenal that would be permanent. It would defy the definition of phenomena, because phenomena is that which is impermanent, no self. Where do we find that? Anything that's not phenomenal cannot say to have any abode, any place where it abides, any form, any self-existence. That's why the Buddha said, not self, not no self. It's not self. Not self, it's part of mind, but it's on the phenomenal side. So if we're going to say to you, all right, if I was there in person and we'd say, line up all that's phenomenal over here, you would all have to move your body over to that side. And you go, That's no good. That's a bummer. I mean, you mean I'm phenomenal? Well, not in that sense. You may be phenomenal, whatever you do, but nevertheless, you're impermanent. What? Yeah, you're impermanent. It's an interesting thing because it is a distinction between us and a monistic or multi God religion that says you are an individual soul. Very hard to prove that. And you were created by someone. Here we say your physical body is created by mind, but that which runs through it, that moves the hand, that is mind. Not your mind, not my mind. That is mine. We just can't accept that because we go, well, it's got to belong to here. No, this belongs to mind. I'm going pretty deep today so that you have a very good chance to practice well. Who lectures this way? But this is the bitter medicine, but the joyous medicine that enables one to awaken. Not bad. Because I'm already telling you, that you have it. There's an old 1960 song about somebody praying to God to buy them a Mercedes Benz because their friends all have Porsches and I must make amends. You already have the Mercedes, you have the Porsche, you have everything. The thing is, when we talk about this Monty Pearl, this wish fulfilling gem, we don't need any of that stuff. If we have it, so it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't have to go out and live in a cardboard box. Causes and conditions are this way. You just don't cling to those things. But this wish fulfilling gem is very special because this gem is a gem that grants your wishes. What are your wishes? I want to be free and liberated. Okay, fine. We're going to take away all your stuff. What? Well, you want to be free and liberated. How can you be free and liberated if you have all of the stuff? And we're going to take away your body. What? This is kind of, what is this, like a joke? Am I in Twilight Zone? No, you're in Twilight Zone now. I'm trying to take you out of Twilight Zone. But you go, what? Because this wish fulfilling gem takes you out of samsara, takes you out of suffering. You don't know, well, this jewel here that I have, do you know how much money this is worth? This is an internally flawless diamond, whatever, VVVVSSS, whatever. This is an incredible diamond. I can buy a lot with this. You still die. What? You still die. How is that liberation? If I give you all these treasures in the world and you can all become incredibly rich, you could even buy your own spaceship to go to Mars. You'd have more money than those other ones that are trying to, whatever they're trying to do. I'll withhold judgment. But you could buy them. You could buy a fleet of rocket ships. But you still die. What? What I present to you, this Monty Pearl, you don't die. You don't have to dream about dying. How many dreams that you've had that you've died and then rebooted and born again to die again. something's wrong with this. Something's really wrong with this. You mean that I live my life and then I die and then I'm reborn again and then I get to hit the people that hit me in the last lifetime. And then how many lifetimes have we been doing that? It's very interesting. There was one story that hit me really strongly that um, it was of this incredible monk, and he came into the town, and the people said, "Oh, you're here! Oh, that's so good! You're really here! Come, master, come! You can come." And they were having a wedding, and it was a very small village that he wandered into, and they knew him, and they invited him in at the kind of like the guest of honor table, and he was just looking at this wedding. Just imagine in the old days with a wedding outside in a courtyard, and he was just looking at everything. Just so he just would say, "This is so incredible. This is so amazing. This is amusing." And they're going, "Shifu, what are you looking at? What are you seeing?" And he said that he goes, "The groom, um, he is marrying his mother, and the grandma, or all the animals, or all the people that were here were animals before. They were all together on the same farm, and the grandma is in the pot. They're cooking her. This is what you're doing. You, who knows who your wife is? I think there's Mark. Do you know who your wife is? What your connection was with her before? No. You might have been in a high realm and came back together. You, it might have been your sister. It might have been your mother. We don't know these things, but it's very curious because all of this is kind of a hodgepodge of mixture of things that happen in this dream world. And then it comes back again in accordance with causes and conditions, and we're back again. We don't understand this. We believe it's real. And Mark says, "Don't worry, honey, I still love you." And of course you do, in accordance with causes and conditions. It is just in this way because we follow these conventions. We don't really truly understand that this mind that we're using is what's making it work, what's spinning it around in accordance with causes and conditions. If you see things in this way, then the life becomes much easier because you understand it's a dream. And you understand one part that's very, very important. Does anybody know what it is? What you really need to know in this samsaric world? I give you the secret. It's free, just $1. Nobody know what the secret is of this world. You should know this. You should know it. If you're going to sit on a cushion, you need to know this. Nobody know. Nobody is brave enough to come forward and take a guess. Looks like Mark's taking the bait. Either that or he's tuning to a football game. Oh, he can't. Can you undo his Chongwen, can you undo Mark's block? Maybe he fell asleep.
There we go. All right. Causes and conditions never fail.
Causes and conditions never fail. Pratika Samappada. Okay. Anybody want to elaborate on that?
Someone say mine in the chat.
Someone says mine. Mine what? And cause and conditions. We're almost there. Impermanence doesn't get us there, Wendy, but it's part of it. Remember what I said in the very beginning, a dream. Well, we know it's a dream, but where is the dream happening?
In mind.
In mind. So we're getting closer.
We're going to awaken in mind. We're going to awaken the mind. The Buddha mind. Yeah.
It is that everything that you see is created by the mind. There you go. See something. Good job. It's all created by the mind. This is so important for us. In my first Chan retreat, when they said that, I'm going, what? Everything's created by the mind? And I wanted to contemplate and contemplate and contemplate that. Of course, that's what makes everything fit. Come one, come all Buddhas. You all have this Buddha nature in you, and it is how everything can work. Because if we say everything is created by the mind, which is Buddha, and you're here in samsara creating things, some of you are good creators, some of you create havoc in your lives, some of you create wonderful lives, but it's all the Buddha mind. So why is this important? Nobody? You all went back to sleep? Come on. Go ahead, Sentha. I know you want to push that button.
It's important because we don't create the self out of mind and mistake it to be what's real.
Because we are the ones that created a tangle here, the knots in this lifetime. We're the ones that created the traps in our lifetime. Do you remember the story that I had told you about the goose in the bottle? And how many of you remember that one? Raise your hands. A few of you. Okay. Some of you, it's new to. I'll just make it very quick. There's a story about you have a little gooseling and you put it in a bottle. Okay. And as you put it in the bottle, you feed it and clean the inside. You give it water, and it begins to grow in the bottle. So that now it's so big, it cannot go out the narrow opening of the bottle that a gooseling could fit in. So how do you get the goose out of the bottle without breaking the bottle or killing the goose? So this is very interesting. And I only had one person immediately respond to this, and it was an indigo kid, a kid that could see quite a bit. And the answer is, the goose is out of the bottle. You put the goose in the bottle. You're the one that could take it out. It was trapped or seemingly trapped in your mind in this puzzle that you could not get it out through the neck of the bottle. You could not break the bottle. You could not harm the goose. So then you're stuck. And this is how you trap yourself in samsara. You're trapped in a dream of your own device. It is why the sutra, there's one that talks about snap of a finger and you're out. Snap of a finger sutra. You're out right now. You're out. You choose. You choose. You can be out of this bottle right now. Not bad, huh? Pretty good. You came here to meditate, and I'm coming here to awaken you. So now you know. Now you know. Do you go back to sleep? Or do you take this and go, wow, you mean everything that I do, I change the environment around me? Of course, that's what's important. What's important is everything's created by mind, not my mind, not your mind, just mine. So if you understand it's mine, then you understand what to do with this mind in samsara. It's hard for us because you say, I think, therefore I am, and create this idea of a self-identity. But Buddha Dharma is much deeper, much more profound. In order to make all of this work, and the reason why I study Buddhism is because it makes sense. There's not a religion or some kind of a philosophy or whatever that makes more sense than Buddhism and Pratika Samappada, and that we understand how it works. This is very, very important. If you understand how it works, there is in that moment a realization. Not bad. It's a small realization, but you can build upon it. How do you build upon it? You contemplate it. You can sit to meditate with right view. You do not sit in meditation like a fat goose in a bottle going, I want to be out of this bottle. I want to be out of this bottle. I want to be out of this bottle. No, you sit understanding that the bottle and the goose are just a dream state. At any time, the goose could be out of the bottle. Have you ever had a dream that you were aware you were in a dream and were able to move around in the dream? How many have had dreams like that? All right. More than I thought. Okay. Very interesting to have a dream like this that you can move around. So wouldn't you think that you could do that in this dream? This is a dream too. So you can move around in the dream. Freedom of ease of body and mind. It's so simple. It's not hard. We make it hard. We make it complicated. We knot it up. We throw the goose in the bottle. But it doesn't have to be this way. Just in this moment, in a snap of the fingers, you can be out of that bottle. You just have to have faith. So when we sit to meditate, we sit and meditate in the proper way. We're clear about it. When we approach that cushion, we approach the cushion not as Gilbert, but as mind. And we maintain this mind. It doesn't mean that we negate Gilbert. Gilbert is useful. He has a mouth. He can talk. He has a heart, bodhicitta. He can apply that in a useful way to the samsaric world. knocking on this egg and knocking on that egg and knocking on that one. Awake, break the shell, come out. You can do it. So it's not bad. So we don't have to negate Gilbert or Gilbert's personality. That's all due to causes and conditions. We can use that collectively, us, the Ratna clan. We can use that, and we can use each and every one of you to assist. So I invite you to assist in breaking eggs. So it is in this way. This is right view. The dream world, there's no purchase there. You cannot get anywhere with it. Even if you imagine yourself to be enlightened, it's just a samsaric sentient being imagining that they're enlightened. Are you enlightened? Yes. Oh, yes, I'm enlightened. But it isn't in this way. I'm talking about the sincerity of the practice, faith in mind. When you come to that cushion, you put all of that into that moment, all of that principle, and you use impeccable practice. Impeccable. The word impeccable means without any fault. When you're there and you're on that cushion, you practice the best that you can do. You relax the most that you can relax. You're aware the most you can be aware of. Holding the method continuously, working to make it lighter and lighter and lighter. This is how you approach your cushion. So now, this morning session, we've talked about how to meditate, the elements that need to be there. And now I've talked about how to approach the cushion. So the next time we talk, we'll talk about what you're doing on the cushion. So do we have any questions at this point? Nobody have a question? Lena?
So we open for question, and you can raise your hand in the reaction button. There's a future raise hand, and then we will unmute you.
You can unmute yourself right now. Yeah.
Right now you can unmute yourself because they lifted the block. So operators are standing by. So, call in. Nobody has a question. This should raise questions in you or confusion. Was it that clear? Okay. Then if there's no questions.
Oh, there's a question.
Lily did.
Rose.
I pay him to ask questions every time. Go ahead.
My question is has to do with looking into different aspects of samsara and how that relates with mind. And the question that I have is that I've been trying to study something in science, in chemistry. And I'd like to do that, but I'm not quite sure why I want to do it. But I want to understand how also things work in samsara. And I also want to not to be a part of this world, to understand it, to understand how things work with everyone else, all the other Buddhas, and what we are doing. And the problem that I have is that sometimes it seems totally useless, and at other times it seems that it's just exactly what I should be doing. And because of that, I know that causes and conditions never fail, but in the mind, and all is created by mind. So how do we approach study? How do we approach music? How do we approach poetry in the same way that we approach the cushion?
I think that what you're looking at is a very strong last bastion of the ego, last fortress of the ego, that's trying to tell you, this guy is telling you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It is not in this way. And your ego is very clever, but your sincerity to practice is greater. And that's why you ask the question. Otherwise, people would just go, oh, Gilbert's telling me don't listen to music. Well, I listen to music. I love art. I do things in terms of practices in my daily life. Maybe I'm not that great of a practitioner that I should just be sitting in a room just reciting Om all day long. But that's not following function. Engaging with people and helping them, taking a rest in the body is fine. Now, to monastics, they aren't supposed to be listening to secular music, but I'm not a monastic, and I practice in accordance with my ability, and you should too. But you shouldn't make it too loose, or it won't play the music, and you shouldn't make it too tight, or the strings will break, and you'll say, heck with this practice. So it has to be middle way. So you begin to find that middle way, and that's very, very important. Shifu used to always talk about that. You very much a studier of Madhyamika, but in Madhyamika, we can apply it to our everyday practice. We practice in accordance with our ability. Now, my ability now is a lot different than it was, 20 years ago or 30 years ago. My ability now and my responsibility of practice has changed over the years. And I study a lot more. And I study not for self illumination, but what I can find that I can use as examples to help others. So it's okay. Just don't let the self come in and steal this just simply by saying, oh, you don't want to be an automaton. You're an automaton now. You are governed by habitual practices. But little by little, as you begin to practice Buddha Dharma, you realize you have a choice in whatever thing you do. And if you choose to work or listen to music, so be it. If you choose to work, so be it. If you want to study, so be it. Little by little, you begin to see what is of value in this life. And you're beginning to see that coming to a lecture and listening, and also to have the reading and the Dharma, it's helpful. So it's okay. You practice in accordance with your own ability, and your own ability will change naturally. So don't worry about that. Just, focus on when you feel that this is an ego that's arising, that's trying to undermine your practice, simply because the ego is two things. One, it is a coward. It's afraid. And the other is it's very clever. And it will come up in different ways that you don't see it. Sometimes it's kind of like that game whack-a-mole, where you whack and you see the ego coming up. But in due time, you will get it under control. I still whack the mole. Ego comes up sometimes, and I'm trying to knock it down. It doesn't come up as strong, as intense as it used to. But it still comes up. That's why they call us practitioners, Louis. Okay? So hang in there. You're doing good. I have to give them a pill every once in a while, a chill pill. If you come to California, we're already all chilled over here in a good way, not like you guys over there, chilling like, 15 degrees below zero. Okay, anything else? No? Okay, then.
Oh, there is
yeah.
another person, Pavel from London. He has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Gilbert. Thank you very much for the Dharma this morning for you, this afternoon for me here in London. I wanted to share, and I have a bit of a question about the little duck in the bottle, and also about the question that you asked. I thought that the answer to your question about the nature of what we think is the reality, what came to my mind was the word emptiness. And I wonder if it's the same thing as the answer that you suggested, that everything is created by the mind. And that's related to my second question, because when you asked, how do we get the duck out of the bottle, the answer that came to my mind was, there is no bottle, right? And perhaps there's also no duck as being separate from the bottle or being in or out of it. And I wonder if that's along the answers that you were also giving.
Very interesting, Pavel, because your questions are the same question. And actually, what you get to is what I was going to get to a little bit later on today. This idea of emptiness. This emptiness is something that we don't understand. We can never understand it as human sentient beings. No matter how we try to define emptiness, we cannot have a satisfactory resolution or understanding to that. Emptiness has to be experienced, and perhaps the word itself is a misnomer. Think about it as all inclusivity versus emptiness, that everything is included. This is mine. It is not that we go to mine and begin to brush out parts of mine, taking out the dross from the silver or the lint or all of the motes of dust in the universe. We don't do that. It's emptiness, that everything is created by the mind. This is the emptiness. So in this way, this is Nagarjuna's emptiness. This is different from the emptiness people think, that everything is empty of a permanence. So when we say, oh, it's impermanent, maybe that is a little bit wrong too in terms of doing that, because if we had a thought of whatever, I have a thought, a spurious thought that comes into my mind of a lightning bug. So that thought came in. It's impermanent. It's gone away. But has it gone away? Where did it go to? Isn't it in mind? Isn't it part of what they call the Alaya Vijnana, the eighth consciousness, the storehouse consciousness? The storehouse consciousness is there irregardless of what we think of past, present, or future. All of those are in the storehouse consciousness. All of those concepts are in the storehouse consciousness. This is mine. This is emptiness. So we were talking about it, a goose in the bottle, outside the bottle, the goose they're all in mind. This is the emptiness of it, because we see phenomenally all these things are appearing, but the very fact that they appear does not mean an end to their existence. Nagarjuna was clear about this. It's in terms of neither, well, he's clear in his way, but to us, we go, that doesn't help us. It's neither exist or not exist. And even that statement of his, neither exist or non-exist, is in mind, precisely in mind. It's inclusive of everything, of all time and space. It is this way. And when we see things in this way, we understand, when we dig into the grab bag of mind, we have an understanding of what is to come in the phenomenal world. It's already there. It's amazing, incredibly infinite. And this is the wisdom of the Buddha mind. It's absolutely amazing. I really have to thank you about this, because I've been trying to get to articulate this idea of the emptiness of things, so that one doesn't hold on to this emptiness like it's an empty bag, but it's inclusive of everything. It's there in mind. Phenomenally, it happened. Phenomenally, it is still in mind. All of that. And what is going to happen in the next moment of what I'm going to say, it's already there. How can that happen?
Mhm.
It's not happening in samsara. It may appear in samsara, but it's already part of mind. This is a mind blower. I told you I was going to give you guys something really deep today, and I'm really trying hard to do this. Some of you are going, okay, enough, you know, but others are going, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's look at this. Let's see how mind is. Nobody talks to you about these things. Well, I'm doing it today. Okay. Let's see where we go. Did that help you? Baba? Okay, good. I really thank you for the question, because I really wanted to get into that, of this whole idea of emptiness and how it's really misnomered, and it's something that's clearly misunderstood. So many people talk about emptiness, and they're talking out of the side of their mouth or other parts of their anatomy, and they do not really can understand that. And I'm trying to give it to you. This is, don't try to think, oh, I can understand this, and this is clear. It can be fuzzy. Just use it to practice, to contemplate. Don't contemplate like a sentient being, contemplate like a Buddha. Direct contemplation. Directly look at it. It will reveal it. It's like you're using this crystal ball and you're just looking in. All of that will come that way. So I think that this is important. No. And Sue just said that she felt like I was talking directly to her. I'm sure a lot of you are feeling the same way, that I'm talking directly to you, because you want to hear it. Causes and conditions never fail. This has been a wonderful opportunity for me to talk about mind, really talk about mind, with no scheduled agenda other than how it fits with meditation. But when you sit to meditate now, you're free. You can do it well. So any other questions? No? All right, then we'll get you going again and do a meditation session. And let's see, we finish up at 9 my time, which is 12 Eastern time. And then I don't know what time it is in London, Pavel. It's 4 in the afternoon. Okay. So you'll finish up fairly late tonight then, right? Okay, hang in there. All right. I will give it back to the timekeeper and we'll do some sitting sessions then. Amitofo.